Oh, fired up. All right, we're back. It's been, I think, 7 or 8 years. But look who's back with me. The legend himself, Mr. Joey Clack. And we got video. He is alive. There were rumors, but they're not true. All those death hoaxes you hear about celebrities, the ones about Joey Clacks have never been true.
Not true.
With us also, LA's finest, Mr. Jonathan Guerrero, bringing some new flavor to the show. We've always been pretty East Coast based. He's a West Coast cat, and then I'm in Arizona now. It's where the fire is behind me. It's like I'm somewhere in between, I guess. So I'll be that Southwest correspondent in the desert. So we haven't done this in a while. We're going to do it a little different than we used to. Graphics are a little different. We're on Zoom. We're in quarantine. We're in, well, I was going to say 3 different states, but that'd be a lie. John's actually there too. But we'll say he's in LA. It looks very LA behind him out there, like LA sun. Last night was a UFC pay-per-view, supposedly going to be the biggest one ever on Fight Island. Didn't really do it for me. I'll tell you that. The highlight of the night, I think, for me personally, was Rose Thug Namajunas. I can't even say her name, but she's got the sexiest hair of all the ladies. I'll tell you that much. On the UFC circuit, and her face looked just battered. It looked battered, but she looked good. It's her first fight in a while. She got slammed on her head last time they fought. And I thought she looked good. John, what'd you think of the night in UFC yesterday?
I thought Rose looked good. She obviously dominated the first 2 rounds. Jessica took the 3rd round. I think that's when Rose took the most damage. But I think Rose did enough where Jessica had to finish her to actually take the fight. I mean,
she tried.
I mean, she got pretty close. But overall, like I think I told you, my predictions were all 3 title fights were going to go to decision. I was mostly right. That referee sucked in the Jose Aldo fight, let him take all that damage at the end.
Oh, man, that was brutal. That made me think of, like, Muhammad Ali getting beaten by Larry Holmes. Like, just end the fight. Just because the guy doesn't give up, does he have to be unconscious and brain dead? Like, he definitely took a year or 2 off that guy's life by not – the last 30 seconds, when he didn't lift his hand for, like, 20 seconds. He moved an inch and then took another 30 seconds worth of beating. And then he did that another. Probably the whole last round he did that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to see because the refs are supposed to be there to protect the fighters and obviously failed at that. Co-main event, Max Holloway and Alex. Everybody's pretty widespread on that's a robbery. Usually robberies are when people like to throw robbery around when it's a close fight. I feel like that was a very definitive performance for Max, and I think he was robbed.
4-1. I had that 4-1 that fight. 4 rounds to 1. And if the whole fight is a 25-minute thing, he probably won 20 minutes of the 25 minutes.
I agree. I definitely agree, and it's a bummer, but hopefully, Max can get one more fight and then get back in there. I got
a quick question for you. As a UFC, you know more about this than me here. So in boxing, which I like UFC way more and mixed martial arts way more than boxing, and especially because of the judges, because you don't usually get this in UFC. You get it 50% of the time in boxing. My question is, in boxing, you knock someone down, it's a 10-8 round. Like, you lose a point. Like, without a doubt, you lose. Even if you lost a round, you lose a point. It's a 10-8 round. UFC, he knocked the dude down 3 times in the first 2 rounds. Even if they tied the rest of the fight, or he was lost the rest of the fight, shouldn't those 2 knockdowns be worth something?
They should. It's fucking pulling teeth to get them to score 10-8 rounds in MMA. A lot of hardcore fans have been wanting that. A lot of people feel that there should be a lot more draws in MMA because of 10-8 rounds, which a lot of fights, sometimes you're like, fuck it, who won? Like, I don't know. Draws should be more common, but I completely agree. Those first 2 rounds should have been 10-8. Max got the 3rd round, I think, as well. It should have been 29-27 Max all day.
And then he lost the 4th, and then I think it's a draw the 5th. It could go either way. So, I don't know. To me, it's kind of crazy, because the first fight, it went either way. Ooh, who let the dogs out? It could have went either way, but I don't know. This was and they're not going to do a third one because he lost. I just don't see them doing a third one at this
They're
point.
not going to do it right away. Max will have to build his way back up. 1 or 2 fights, and he'll be back in it. Max looked good. He looked great. So there's nothing.
Guys that will fight 2 chumps just to get another title fight. I don't know. I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Quick
And
question,
then we'll go.
quick question leading up. Since the heavyweight division is like, to me, the weakest division in UFC. I don't know. Like, they fight once every 3 or 4 pay-per-views. The title goes on the line once every 6 months. Next month, they're doing Stipe versus Cormier for the 3rd time. They keep saying, this is going to be the greatest heavyweight of all time, whoever wins this. That's pathetic if either one of those 2 guys is the greatest heavyweight of all time. I can name 2 or 3 others I think are better than them all time. Do you agree or disagree?
You see that in every division. It's who's hot now. Like, all respect to Max, but them touting him as the greatest heavyweight or greatest featherweight of all time, is giving so much disrespect to Jose Aldo in his career as a featherweight.
Well,
Like,
they kept saying the 2 of them are the 2 best featherweights. They kept saying.
But yeah, like, it's just who's hot right now, and it's just like that's what upsets me is like Jose Aldo had such from the WEC into the UFC. He was undefeated for so many years, defending the belt so many times. Max is a great fighter, but he hasn't had the career that Jose had. But now that Jose's on the downturn of his career, there's just no respect anymore.
So who's the greatest heavyweight UFC fighter of all time?
The greatest UFC. It's hard because, like you said, it's a weak division.
Brock
Champs don't
Lesnar.
like
Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar. Suplex City. That's it. That's
no, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you on that one.
Oh, there's no respect involved when it's Brock Lesnar. It's Brock Lesnar.
I'd say before he got injured, probably it was looking like Cain Velasquez was. I think
he beat Brock Lesnar, but whatever. We don't have to talk about that.
if his knees didn't fuck him up, I think he could have been champ for a while. But heavyweights, that big body is just hard to sustain.
His knees couldn't even hold up for WWE last year. What that guy's useless. He's useless. All right.
They were pretty shot. Anyways, yeah. But if you want to go real quick, main event was bullshit. I watched toe stomping for.
I forgot that we didn't even mention the main event.
Yeah, it was. I knew it was going to be a wrestle fuck. I didn't realize it was going to be a clinch fuck, which is even more boring than a wrestle fuck. And toe stomping, and that was it. But
how do you think his toes feel today? That dude stepped on his foot like 100 times.
It's an annoying tactic, but it has to hurt for sure.
All right. Joey Clax, I've got a question for you.
Sure.
Ready for some baseball?
Fuck yeah, I'm ready for some baseball, dude. This is what America's come to, that there was that much to talk about UFC. This is what sports has come to.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and still say that UFC is gonna be the only sport that happens in America this year. But we're gonna talk about baseball.
Let's talk about it.
The 2 favored teams this year: National League, Jonathan's Dodgers; the American League, Joey Clax's Yankees.
Yep.
Somewhere at like number 10 to 12 are my Mets, but we don't even need to talk about that. Better than usual, though, going into the season, but yeah, we're still pretty low. Do you think a shortened season is advantage or disadvantage for your Yankees this year?
I think it's a disadvantage. You know, it's gonna take a while for those pitchers to warm up, especially guys like Tanaka that are taking baseballs off the face. You know, unfortunately, you know, guys like Cole to figure out how to get their season started.
I think in like the long haul, like a team like both the Dodgers and the Yankees, they're built for like the marathon. Like
they're built for the marathon, exactly.
They'll have their spurts, but in the end, they'll just have so many longer spurts that they outlast everybody. This short season, I talked to John about this. I think the Dodgers, this is the worst thing that could have happened to them. Because
look at the amount of depth they have on both of those rosters. Now all of a sudden they got to shorten those rosters immediately. What are they starting the season with? 30 guys?
30 guys. And the thing is, any team can get hot.
Any team can get hot. Everybody's starting the season at 500 with 60 games. It's just like it's a major disadvantage for both of those teams.
Do you know any sleeper teams, Jonathan, you think can sneak up on the big boys, on the Dodgers, the Astros, the Yankees, you know, the
Well, what I was going to say first is it's in this 60 game whatever season, each game is worth like almost 3 games per win. So that's a series right there. Like you said, anybody can get streaky. As far as sleepers go, I don't know. Yankees are obviously number one.
That's not a sleeper.
No,
That's
I'm
a
gonna
wait.
get there. I'm gonna get there. So Yankees and Dodgers, obviously, we got to get that out of the way. I think for the AL West, sleeper would be if Trout plays, the Angels can overtake the Astros. Astros canceled practice today because somebody was exposed. They've been kind of a mess, and then they're also pieces of shit. But besides that, I think
No Dodger hate there at all.
the Twins in the AL Central, they're my sleeper pick for the AL Central, I think. Probably the biggest ones.
Wait, the Twins who won the division are your sleeper pick?
That's an interesting sleeper, pal.
I mean, your sleepers here are I mean,
I
I'll
don't
give you the Dodgers, I'll give you the Angels, because that's the one we talked about. I think they can, if they're pitching that's getting healthy, they got Rendon, they got Shohei back. Trout, I don't think he's going to play personally, but even if he does, I think they're a good sleeper pick.
Whoa. Rewind. I like the sleeper, but you don't think Trout's going to play?
No. Trout's already said he's about 80% not going to play, and then his wife's giving birth to their first kid. He said he won't stay away from them.
Okay, whoa. The poster child for rounding bases with a mask on isn't going to play?
Mm-mm. He said it's not going to be safe enough.
No. The fantasy draft board said that he was thinking about not playing.
Yep.
Okay. He's going to play.
I don't know. I mean,
I think he's going to play.
I think he's going to play.
He doesn't have $36 million sitting out there this year to not make. He only has about like $8 million, $7 million. He could. I don't know. I don't know. Any other teams you think? Clax, what do you think? We got the Yankees and the Dodgers up top. Who do you think is going to make a push?
You know who my sleeper is in a short season? You asked who I think it benefits.
Mm-hmm.
It benefits the Rays.
Mm-hmm.
That's my sleeper.
The way that they play with those relief pitchers starting, doing all that kind of stuff. I think that you know who my other sleeper pick is, and I'm gonna pick him. I'm gonna pick this team because of their new manager. I think in a shortened season, the manager is going to make more of a difference. And I'm going to bring this topic up later about managers in sports. But in baseball especially, I think a shortened season, the manager is going to be so important. And I think Grandpa Rossi in Chicago with the Cubs, I think the Cubs, their lineup is stacked. Baez, Bryant, Schwarber, I mean, Rizzo, you go down the list. I mean, they're stacked.
You mean that World Series lineup?
Yeah, which is still 28 years old and still there.
That one, yeah.
The World Series emotional heroes, now the manager. The pitching still is decent.
That team never went away.
They just they just got complacent, basically.
Yes.
But I think this shortened season could be like, you know what? Maybe we're going to win 12 in a row at some point, and all of a sudden they take her up. Cincinnati in that division also. I think
Cincinnati is huge. Opposite, another sleeper that I think people are going to be not expecting is the Black Sox. I think are going to show up a little bit, I think they have a solid squad for short season. You watch the Black Sox.
Who are the Black Sox?
I know the Red Sox. I know the White Sox.
The Black Sox.
Look it up. And then, hold on, let me wiki it.
Okay, look it up. I'm going to take a drink of water while you look this up real quick. I know a lot of it's from like the 1918 Black Sox.
I mean, I am wearing my Kansas City Mickey Mantle shirt, but I have to Google that too.
All right, well, who do you think in a shortened season has the best chance of winning MVP? See, for me, before I give you my prediction of who I think it's going to be, I think this is going to be all about power hitters because batting average, you bat 400 this year. There's an asterisk. It doesn't really count, you know. But in 40 games, you hit 60 games, you hit, 28 home runs. Yeah. All of a sudden, you're an MVP. So,
AL or NL?
Clax, who do you think? Who are your AL and NL MVP predictions?
It's going to sound like I'm talking with my heart here, but you nailed it on the head. Aaron Judge, because he's healthy, and Christian Yelich in the NL, because it's all about power.
Mm-hmm. And he adds a little bit of speed too, Yelich. I like his defense. That's right. Marlins gave him away for a bag of beans, man.
Yep, for a bag of beans.
Literally gave him away for two players that never are going to get called up.
because Jeter's doing a real fucking awful job out there.
He gave Stanton to the Yankees. Granted, you didn't have to pay for him, but
Doing a fucking terrible job. I hope A-Rod buys your Mets and beats the piss out of them.
well, you know they'll get juiced up again. I'll be kind of excited for the Mets.
Yeah.
We get
I might start rooting for the Mets if A-Rod buys the Mets, but we'll talk about that later.
He'll finally have his kiosk he always wanted at Shea Stadium.
I had a brain fart because I was actually looking up baseball scandals earlier. It's the White Sox, but the Black Sox scandal, I had that in my head. So
okay, good. I know the 1918 Black Sox, Shoeless Joe and the whole crew. Don't get me wrong.
Like looking that up.
Still played.
I know when I was like making my notes, I wrote Black Sox in my note. Like, fucking idiot.
I know there's a whole movement going on. I didn't know where you were going with that, but I'm like, all right, that's cool, you know.
It's like why do I have that in my head? And I was like looking at scandals.
White Sox though, they got a player to watch this year. That I think is going to be the guy that jumps out. I don't know. I guess he could be Rookie of the Year. I don't know if he's been called up yet, but Luis Robert. Remember that dude? He's from Cuba. He's like 27, 28. He signed like a $30 million contract just to come here, and he put him in the minors for 2 years. Before he hasn't been called up. Before they even called him up last year, they gave him another $50 million. So the guy's made $80 million. He hasn't even been called up yet. I watched him. 5-tool player. He's going to be a stud. Either Rookie of the Year. He's going to be in the conversation for like top 10 MVP. That's my all fired up rookie sensation breakdown for you. John, who do you have for MVP?
AL, obviously, if he plays Trout.
Obviously? It's not obvious, but okay, obviously.
Yeah, it's obvious. Behind him, maybe Francisco Lindor. I got going to have a good season.
I do too. I think he's definitely someone, because he's going to have a lot of stolen bases too. He's someone that can definitely be up there. Who do you have in the NL?
NL, I'm going to go Homer.
Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger and Aaron Judge.
No, Mookie Betts. He's on a contract here.
Mookie, okay.
Mookie, huh?
He's got a lot to prove this year. But behind him, I have Juan Soto. I think he's going to show up too.
Yep, I think Juan Soto is a stud. I think in a short season, he's another guy that he had. See, I have him in fantasy last year. I could tell you a couple things about this guy. Also streaky. He could come out and hit 12 home runs in the first 20 games. He's one of those guys. And because of that, I definitely think he's in my top 5 picks for sure for MVP. You know who else is streaky? Chris Bryant. And I think Chris Bryant's healthy in the NL. I think there's a chance he could be one of those guys that randomly comes out and bats 350 or 330 with 20-something home runs in a shortened season. But that's not my pick in the NL.
That division is tough, though. That division is super tough.
Joey Clax, you know who my pick is?
Who that?
He's been in the division of the Mets since he's a rookie. 2 different teams now. But the guy starts off hotter than anyone every single season. And his name is Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper, he gets to the All-Star break. He's got usually 18 or 20 home runs, and then he gets hurt or something happens to him, and he's done. I think this year he doesn't have enough time to do all that, and I think he's going to come through with an MVP. It's not going to count as a real MVP, but I think he's going to sneak an MVP.
You can't deny that, and the fact of the matter is, every single stat this season is going to have a bigger than Barry Bonds asterisk on it. It's going to be. It is. Nothing's going to count. So.
But I think the World Series title should count because you still have to go through.
Hey, if the Astros have rings, this shit's going to fucking count, right? So.
The American League, I think, is really up in the air for the MVP. It's funny because I had Aaron Judge in my top 5 too. Once they said his rib was healed, if he stays healthy, there's no reason someone like him. In the National League, the other guy I didn't mention, Pete Alonso. Now you could call it a homer pick. I don't think he's going to win MVP, but I think he's going to be in the top 5 because he's another one of those guys. He's going to have so many home runs that it's just going to be. He's going to be in the conversation. But the American League. JD Martinez, breakout player again this year. I think he was hurt last year. I don't think that he's shot. I don't think you could go from doing what he did for so many years, unless he was roided up, which maybe he was. And if that's the case, all the power to him. Mike Trout would be a pick that's pretty obvious, but he's not going to play. I don't think so. I'm going to stick with my guns. John, quick question about Mookie Betts for you.
Yeah.
Who's the greatest Mookie to ever play in the major leagues?
You didn't give me enough chance to look this up, so I'm going to go with Mookie Betts.
Wow. He's setting you up, bro. That's what he's doing.
Have you ever
Dirty.
see, I know you were a young cat just like I was in 1986 for this World Series when the New York Metropolitans beat the Boston Red Sox. Wait.
Fucking born in 86.
That's fine. You should know about baseball. Have you heard of Mickey Mantle? He was born 30 years before you. I mean, he retired 30 years before you were born. But my point is, Bill Buckner threw his legs. Have you heard of that? The
Oh,
Mets win the World Series. Well, Game 6 to go to Game 7 to win the World Series. Mookie Wilson is the answer to that question.
Mookie Wilson was who he was looking for. I got one for you. Alex Bregman, over under 9.5 times. He's going to get hit.
Over. Same thing for Altuve.
Okay.
But
I like that. I like the over.
But my reasoning is those guys get hit a lot anyway.
Okay.
Now I'm going to go under for George Springer
Ooh.
and what's the other whoever the other guy is that's in there, the big
The racist one, Yuli.
yeah Yuli. I don't think any of those guys are or another sleeper pick this year for an MVP in the American League. He's on the Astros and no one talks about him. Yordan Alvarez. That
Yeah.
guy came on in Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, no, he's nasty.
He could come out and just start popping. He's got protection. He's going to have Altuve in front of him and Springer behind him.
He's nasty.
So just another one to kind of throw out there. I got a question when you're talking about, because I think managers are going to make I think Aaron Boone is going to earn his money this year. I think he's a great manager. I hated on Joe Torre. I thought Don Zimmer was all the smarts behind that team. Joe Girardi I thought was good, but he started getting a little outdated almost. The game started passing him with a lot of the nuances of the game changing and not evolving. Aaron Boone is perfect.
Aaron Boone's great
for that team. Mentally, he knows the game. He's got the pedigree with his family, 3 generations. I mean, I think he's going to make a huge difference, just like I said for the Cubs. Now, in my opinion, baseball, the managers are the most important of any sport. What sport do you think managers or head coaches are the most important out of the 4 major sports? And I guess you could put fighting in there too if you want.
I think hands down, it's got to be MMA. You have one coach that leads you. You have to lean on that one because you're the only one in that cage, and you lean on that one person.
All right, let's make it team sports. Maybe that's not a fair comparison. You're right.
All right.
Because then you could say tennis and golf too. Probably it's pretty important for their coach. So team sports, change it. Remix.
Then it's definitely in baseball because football they have so many different coaches for each. The offensive line coach, whole offensive coordinator, like. Baseball definitely, the manager has to hold the whole clubhouse and all the egos together to make it a successful team. Because if it's not, you see teams with tons of talent just fall apart.
So you're saying you think it's less X's and O's and more camaraderie and keeping the team together for that sense for baseball. See, I think baseball, you have almost the same amount of coaches as you do for football. You've got your bench coach, you've got your hitting coach, your pitching coach, your bullpen coach, your first base coach, your third base coach, your outfield coach, your who knows. I mean, you got a lot of coaches that do a lot of the coaching per se, like you said, but you think the manager is the gel that keeps together more than maybe the head coach in football? Because I think the head coach in football, that's all they do. They are just there as the gel and like the leader of men, basically.
I think so, because it seems like a lot of the drama you see in football is, I don't know, egos to me are like the biggest problem in either a clubhouse or fucking on a bench. And I think a head coach has less to do. I feel head coach in football has less to do with that and less manageable than they are in the clubhouse. I think it's a smaller starting roster. There's on the football field, there's 40, 50 players. It's harder to manage that and to keep it in control. And I think it's baseball.
What do you think, Clark?
It depends on who you're talking about. Like if it's a football coach that's calling the offense and he's calling in the plays into the helmet of the quarterback. You know what I mean? If it's Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson versus Bill Belichick versus whoever your best baseball coach is. Like, which one is more important to their team?
Man, fucking yeah, Phil that's another one out there. That's
so like
Phil
is the least important because
so Phil Jackson.
There, go.
Phil Jackson versus Bill Belichick versus who's that equivalent of baseball coach?
There's not.
There isn't.
So, yeah, I mean, there isn't.
So the question is Phil Jackson versus Belichick.
But is that because but that just means I guess, but I mean, there's baseball magic. Casey Stengel's got as many rings as them. I mean, you could go back and find back in the day when people would have rings, but
And did the managers cultivate the talent, or did it fall in their lap and they were able to do their thing with it?
Joe Torre.
Also, yeah, but then that comes into the Belichick thing, Look at what he did in the drafts.
Okay, well, talking football, Clax, I heard you had a little football you wanted to talk today. Do you want to bring up something about Dak Prescott and his contract, I heard?
Oh, I mean, we could get into the clack attack for a second if you want to go there.
Oh, wait, we're gonna get a full clack attack?
Oh, you're gonna get a full clack attack, dude.
Oh my
You're
God.
gonna get a full clack attack. So let's talk about this guy.
I'm sweating.
Let's talk about this guy. Let's talk about this guy. All right. Dak Prescott. Okay, this guy pisses me off. Okay, this guy is not worth all the money he is requesting.
What's
okay. Somebody look up. Where did the Cowboys go last year? 8-8.
No
Cowboys went. I think
no
they didn't even
they
make
went 7-9 and didn't make
7-9. Look at him swimming in his fucking money bin like Scrooge McDuck. They didn't even make the fucking playoffs. The Eagles made the playoffs.
How much is that quarterback making?
And they lost in the first fucking round. And fucking what's his name was the fucking quarterback in that fucking on that team at the end of the season. Jesus Christ! And this guy wants top 5 quarterback money.
They had a high school football coach as their quarterback in the
who's the fucking backup from the Bengals that is backing him up this year? What's his name?
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton. Start fucking Andy Dalton. I'm fucking done with Dak Prescott. I'm done with the fucking Cowboys, dude.
I got a question. Is Dak Prescott a top 10 quarterback in the league to you right now?
Maybe.
He's towards the later half of that.
So he's in your top. So say 7 to 10, maybe in that range, 8 to 10.
He's definitely in the top 15, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
no, I'm asking top 10 for a reason. Because if he's like 9 or 10, he's got to make at least 25 to 30 million a year. That's the going rate. Now, if he wants 40 million, then that's kind of silly.
Oh, dude. He wants Aaron Rodgers money.
As long as he don't want Patrick Mahomes money.
No, he ain't getting Patrick Mahomes
That's
money.
baseball money.
Dude.
I didn't see the number released. I know it was 10 years. What was that number?
Well, it's
a half $1 billion.
With the 2 years that are left on the contract, it's $503 million.
Yeah, 503.
503. Remember Mike Trout and his 470? No. 503. He's got the first $500 million contract.
And I
$500
think
million.
he's worth every cent of that. So
Well, they just figure that they can put a bunch of rookies around them and he's just going to make them into stars. And I mean, I guess you're once in a generation talent. That's what you do. You lock them in and you hold on to it. And if they win 2 Super Bowls in 10 years, what a success that is, in my opinion. Like,
yeah.
that means you'll have 3 Super Bowls in 11 years. How many other quarterbacks have done that in history? 3, 4, maybe. Not to throw off your clack attack, but that's not the
no. And just one more thing to touch upon. They didn't even make the playoffs, and this guy wants all that
They
money.
played the Giants for 2 games. They played the Redskins for 2 games, and they didn't make the playoffs. That's some crap teams they played against.
Demanding to Jerry Jones, you want that money.
Yeah.
Next up. These 2 jabronis.
Oh, okay.
Tampa's finest,
We need to talk about these 2 jabronis.
Tampa Bay.
Just when we thought we were done with Gronkowski, just when the world was done with Tom Brady, and I hate Tom Brady. We all know I hate Tom Brady.
You do.
Oh my God, I fucking hate you, Tom Brady, and I have to respect you because you are the GOAT. We all know you're the fucking GOAT. And I fucking hate saying it, but you're the fucking GOAT, Tom Brady. And I
Do you know who
fucking
loves Tom
hate you.
Brady? This guy.
What's that?
You want to know who loves him? You know why?
Why is that?
2 Super Bowls for Eli Manning beating them. Yeah.
There you go.
Brady.
There you go. But you know what?
You gonna cheer for him?
Now they're both fucking back. They might even fucking be responsible for bringing one of my fucking favorite fucking wide receivers back into the fucking game this year. One of my favorite fucking wide receivers back into the game this year, and we'll see if Antonio Brown graces our presence back onto the field this year. Because that would warm my fucking heart. Oh, that would warm my heart if Antonio Brown came back into football this year.
If you guys had your team, who would you rather have, Antonio Brown or a clean Josh Gordon?
Antonio Brown all day long.
Antonio Brown is,
and all of his babies.
Playing, if you put his 5 or 6 best years, he's a top 4 wide receiver of all time. I mean, there's no debate. The numbers say it. The wins for his team, the clutch touchdowns, every aspect. Whether you want a deep threat, you want a guy cutting through the middle, you want a guy getting knocked unconscious in the playoffs on illegal hits and still coming back. I mean, he's got mental issues. I think he probably has CTE or whatever. I don't even know what's going on. But the dude can play. He's not going to go to Tampa Bay though, because Bruce Arians, the coach, was his offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh, and Antonio Brown talked so much crap about him. There's no way he'll bring him in there. But with that being said, there's 3 or 4 teams that I think 100%, the Seahawks being the first one, the 49ers being the second one, would both think about bringing in Antonio Brown.
But that's not going to be Bruce Arians' call.
No, but if he thinks it's going to mess up the chemistry with his wide receivers, I think it's going to – let's see how if they start off 2-4, Antonio Brown's going to be in the lineup for week 7. Don't get me wrong, but – we'll see how that goes. And I'm with you. I want him back in the league. I like when stars are in the league. I want Josh Gordon back in the league. I want him back in the league. Josh Gordon smokes weed and drinks alcohol.
He's great at both of those things, isn't he?
Smokes, no, not really. He's not failing drug tests for – I mean, I'm sure he snorts a lot of coke, but he's not failing drug tests for that. He's failing drug tests for smoking weed and drinking alcohol. And last time I checked, whether it's right or wrong, alcohol is legal. He's not on probation with the law. He's only on probation with Goodell, which is stupid to me. And I'm trying not to curse. I don't know if you guys noticed. I haven't cursed once yet the whole show. I'm practicing. But this is firing me up a little. And I want to make sure you want to say, yeah. But no, he's on probation from the league. And that's horse crap to me because he smokes weed and drinks alcohol. And at this point, if that's all the guy's doing, he's sober. Like he's keeping sober from the drugs that are hard drugs that should keep him out of the league and could kill him and this and that. They want him on Percocet. They want him on Vicodin. That's what they want him doing. And it's crazy. To me, it's crazy.
That could be true, but when somebody needs a personal handler to make sure they're not fucking up, I think he's on personal suspension from the league because they're not releasing what he's actually tested positive for.
They did. It was marijuana and alcohol. His last one from the Patriots.
That's what they let out, but
that's all I'm going to go by. That's what they say. That's what he says. So, I mean, even if it's cocaine, it's just like, what does it matter? Let him play football. Like,
I agree. I love Josh Gordon.
It's not steroids. Steroids in football, I'm against. Where I love them in baseball, I'm very against them in a violent sport like football. Like, I think that's not good. But
2 words: Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah. No steroids, lots of cocaine.
Lots of cocaine. Lots of cocaine.
And in between the cocaine, he took speed just to help him, get up a little faster. So,
well, he had to play better, so.
Yeah, a little amphetamines in there.
Yeah.
But you know what's different between what Willie Mays did and Mickey Mantle and Duke Snyder? They used to have bowls, they called them the jelly beans, in the locker up until like the mid-'80s. And it was just amphetamines, which is literally pills of speed. And they pop 3 of them before they get on the field. And by the 7th inning, they pop 2 more. Now, that was the norm. That was fine because they drank so much the night before they needed to do that.
So brought them level.
Yeah, Darryl Strawberry said the same thing because I was so hungover. I needed the speed in the afternoon to get me ready for day games.
Final prediction: Tampa goes 10-6 in a very, very tough division.
Playoffs?
Squeaks in a wild card, loses in the first round. Everyone is disappointed.
Brady retired.
How is Gronk going to perform? That dude is so beat up. And
here's what's going to happen.
Tell me.
He's going to get injured week 2.
You got him to 2. I was going to say 1. Okay. And is he going to be like a hamstring or groin that's going to keep him out?
Oh, it's going to be something
Or
even
is it a back injury?
something even dumber, dude. Like a shoulder or a quad, like something really stupid.
I think Gronk is the perfect weapon in that offense.
Oh no, he'd be great if it was 8 years ago.
No, they don't need him. He's the number 4 option. Like, he's not expected to. I mean, they got Godwin and Evans. Then they got the third guy. I forgot his name. That was the rookie last year as another receiver.
No, on paper, that team is deadly.
They're just going to use him in the red zone. He's going to be a red zone decoy.
He's going to be a good Brady distraction for defense.
Someone you have to cover in the middle that's going to leave the guys on the side open. So if he does anything, that's what he's going to do, and that's very valuable to me.
Mm-hmm.
Worth every penny. Clock attack, continue. You got anything else?
Last but not least, I'll give one specific shout out to one last thing that I hate is people that don't wear masks. You know who you are. If we had graphics, I would be holding up a Confederate flag and a picture of Bubba Wallace. Thank you very much.
Well, it's been a long time since I've had a clock attack in my life, and we've gotten the whole full spectrum up here. I like it. Do you think football is going to happen? Because I see college sports right now, they're ready. The Ivy League canceled all their fall sports, and that's because they're the smartest people, obviously. Your Harvards, your Yales, the people with brains. The musclehead SECs, ACCs, Big East, they're going to follow suit, I'm pretty sure, because these kids don't get paid. They're barely letting kids on campus for classes, and they're not letting them in classrooms, but they're expected to play full contact sports where their faces are against each other. Do you think college football is going to happen? And do you think there's a chance NFL doesn't start on time? John.
It's going to fuck up, if the college sports don't happen, it's going to fuck up future drafts. And I think there's a tidal wave of stuff that it's going to affect. So there's a lot of money in college sports that are not for the players. So we'll see. I think
a school like Stanford said that they had a lot. They had 36 Division I sports, and football basically pays for all of them. Basketball throws in a little bit, but football is 95% of what pays for volleyball and with girls soccer and swimming. And because the season was canceled for them, they canceled 14 sports off their school's list now. So they don't have 36 anymore. Now they have 22. Those scholarship athletes now don't have scholarships. Maybe they let them keep it for this year, but they're not bringing in these scholarship athletes moving forward. And a lot of other schools are following suit with that. Now, I get the money behind it, and I get the draft picks behind it, but I don't think it's happening. I don't think college football, unless they do it in the spring, which is an option. I don't see how you can have kids traveling through different states.
They're not going to. I agree they're not going to do it, sorry, Clark, but because all the bowls have to happen around the same time. I don't know. There's so much money behind it, and I always think I'm a hater of U.S. capitalism, and I think money rules all. So in my head, I'm like, yeah, they're going to make it happen some way or another.
Hashtag.
But I agree with you. I don't know how. I think they will try to figure it out some way, because all these bowls that they do generate a shit ton of money.
What about the NFL? You think the NFL is going to start on time?
I think they will.
I mean, it's all about money. Obviously, that's why the NBA is coming back to play 8 regular season games, because when they hit 50 regular season games, their TV contracts kick in. So they have to play 8 regular season games. So it's obviously all about money. I personally don't think football is going to – I think football might start on time. I think there's a 0% chance that anyone wins a Super Bowl other than COVID this year. Put your money in Vegas on that one, Clax.
Yeah, dude. College football absolutely is not happening. 0% chance of college football happening. I have no idea what they're going to do about the draft. There might just not be a draft, which is going to be.
No, there will be. There's a lot of people that are now age. If there was no age, age holdout, I think that they could skip a draft. But there's guys that have been waiting these 3 years. Now they're finally old enough. They're like, now I can get drafted.
Okay, they'll have some weird draft.
It might be a blind draft. It might be one where they're only doing combines. You don't actually know how some of these. But some of them, they had to have played some think over
They're going to do an XFL draft. All the best players from the XFL.
I like it. I like it.
But they already talked about pushing the NFL season back
They canceled
a couple of weeks.
Yeah, they already canceled 2 preseason games. The players already said they're not going to play the other 2, so there's no preseason. I know they don't want to say it, but I'm starting to think like basketball. I think has the only chance of actually happening because they built a bubble.
They already said they're not allowed to have jersey swaps at the end of the games, which is
the stupidest thing you ever heard?
the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
So you can tackle their jersey and you could lick their jersey in the middle of the game, but at the end you can't touch it.
Yeah.
Did you guys? There was a tweet about the Blue Jays. Apparently, if they're seen leaving the facility, they're fined like $750,000 or something like that.
And guaranteed mandatory jail time of minimum for each time they're called.
That's just ridiculous.
And it's the same thing for visiting people. So when you fly to Toronto, you have to stay in the stadium hotel. There's a hotel in the stadium because it's the Sky Dome and the old Sky Dome hotel. And if you get caught going out to get a burger at McDonald's on the corner, $750,000 fine. And this is just for players. It's no one else in the country has it, but players, because they don't want Americans.
But I mean, like, of all the things, everybody doing it right, that's probably like just enforce a stupid ass, like super harsh penalty.
I don't disagree with any of it.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I think that's fine.
Their country's doing great. You know, their country's doing great. Why should we come in and mess it all up for them?
Have somebody deliver your food or eat from the fucking hotel. There's options.
It happened. I finally agree with something Canada did.
All right, guys. Well, I think we made it to the end of an all fire. Do you think the NBA is going to happen?
Yeah.
You do? Clax, you think the NBA season, because they're in this bubble, you think the bubble's going to stay? You think it's going to pop? You think all of a sudden the virus is going to get in there? Because
I think it's going to start. I think the bubble's going to burst, and I think the bubble's going to burst because it's in Florida.
Well, that's my question. Now, there's 3 factors. There's 3 factors. It's Florida, which is worse than even Arizona right now. That's one factor. Number 2, there's the players. Are they actually going to stay in their bubble? Or are they going to, try to go bang girls and go do drugs and whatever they do? And 3, what about all the staff that comes in every day from Disney that's doing the clothes, that's doing the food? They're infiltrating the bubble. There's going to be dozens and dozens of people every day infiltrating, if not hundreds, infiltrating this bubble. Not going to happen. But it's going to start. I think they'll make it. And I think LeBron's beard's going to get grayer. And I think he's going to end up getting screwed out of winning a title this year. That's what I think.
I think if it does happen, Lakers are definitely winning the title.
Definitely.
Definitely. Agreed.
This bubble is worse than fucking Fight Island as an idea overall. So
Fight Island would have been cooler if there was no dome and they fought outside. That's all.
Do you realize how hot and not like this is not no. It would never happen.
They should. They said it was slippery enough already just from the humidity inside. They should have just let them go outside. Fight on the sand. Not even a ring. Just make it a square. Oh, whatever. All right, guys. Do you have any final thoughts for this first all fired up? Any predictions? I think we should do this next week again. See where we're at. I don't know what's going to change in sports between this week and next week, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think I can figure out a couple of things for us to talk about that'll make it a little worthwhile. I got a couple topics that are kind of just more broad. I want to talk about, Clax, I know you'll like this one. Biggest falls from grace.
Nice. I like that one.
At the top, and you got your Tiger Woods, your Mike Tyson, people that hit rock bottom, and maybe some that came back up to the top again. I think that's a topic I want to talk about. We got some lists, some top 5 lists I want to go through. I got some things will keep people entertained. I have a good feeling. And maybe there'll be some breaking news. Something will happen. There'll be 10 new people with COVID that we could mention and breaking news by next week.
I got a final thought. I remember when this world wasn't such a crazy, shitty place, bruh. And I remember sports. Those things were awesome.
Remember we used to go outside and go to venues and do shows together, and there's lots of people around us.
That shit was cool, bruh.
That was cool back then. Yeah, back when there was people and shit. Yeah. John, anything you'd like to tell us?
Wear a mask and wash your fucking hands.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I can't disagree with anything I've heard for those 2 final thoughts. My final thought would be more people need to be like Ron Swanson. And if more people are like Ron Swanson in this world, everything will be all right. So, fired up! I don't know what the audio is going to sound like. I might be 10 times louder than everybody like usual, but I guess we'll see. I'm going to try to get this on iTunes, Spotify. I don't know if Tidal does it, but I want to support Jay-Z, so I'll try to get it on Tidal too, you know? I don't know how to do this. I'm going to have to maybe have some of our millions of fans out there tell me how to do this, but we're going to do it. Fired up, guys. Until next time,